In a moment that sent shockwaves through Washington and had international analysts scrambling to make sense of it, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett delivered a thunderous takedown of Donald Trump's latest foray into foreign policy, his unexpected and highly controversial comments about the Rwanda-Congo peace deal. With sharp precision, Crockett dismantled what she labeled as an insulting, dangerous misunderstanding of diplomacy, publicly calling out Trump with the stinging rebuke. That's not how peace works. The confrontation, equal parts humiliation and education, has now sparked global headlines, leaving even Trump's staunchest defenders momentarily speechless. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the raw truth, the powerful takedowns, and the most explosive moments in American politics. Now let's get into this game-changing moment. The air was thick with anticipation. Donald Trump had been invited to a policy roundtable ostensibly to share his views on international development and security. But in true Trumpian fashion, he veered off script, sitting confidently at the head of the table, flanked by allies and aides who nodded on cue. Trump began to pontificate on what he referred to as his new, bold vision for Africa. Few in the room were prepared for what would come next, and even fewer expected the avalanche of backlash that would follow. He leaned into the microphone and said, without irony, Rwanda and the Congo just need a strong American hand. We know business. They don't. We know deals. They don't. I can fix that fight. I'll bring in American companies to mediate things, get some mining deals done right, share the profits, settle everyone down. There was a moment of pause, as if even the stenographers had to double-check what they'd just heard. He continued, calling the decades-long conflict in the region just a mess of bad leadership and no money. To Trump, everything boiled down to a transaction. Every wound was a gap in management. Every genocide a balance sheet error. Seated nearby, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett didn't shift in her chair. She didn't roll her eyes. Her restraint was volcanic. And when her time came to speak, she did so with the clarity and authority of someone who had heard one insult too many past office policy. Mr. Trump, she began with careful control. That's not how peace works. You cannot strong-arm a region into harmony the same way you negotiate a hotel lease. You don't inject capitalism into chaos and expect that to resolve centuries of pain. Her words stunned the room. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Every sentence landed like a hammer. She listed off the real drivers of the Rwanda-Congo conflict. Ethnic tensions still smoldering from colonial divisions, cross-border militia activity, stolen natural resources, and an international community that too often looked away. Do you even know, she asked pointedly, how many people died in the Second Congo War? Over 5 million. Do you know why? Because this isn't about deals, it's about lives. Trump tried to cut in, his usual reflex to dominate. But Crockett continued, not even acknowledging the interruption. Her poise under pressure was a sight to behold. She explained how U.S. intervention without understanding local context often causes more harm than good, and how American businesses extracting resources, cobalt, coltan, diamonds, have historically contributed to instability rather than peace. You want to talk about profits, she said. Let's talk about the cost. Let's talk about the children working in mines. The women assaulted in war zones. The entire villages erased. Peace isn't profitable for everyone. That's the problem. The room, once filled with murmurs, now fell completely silent. Crockett then turned her focus to the symbolism of Trump's comments. How speaking of bringing in American companies to solve African crises echoed the colonial era, when European powers drew lines through the continent, dividing up land and people with little regard for the consequences. That's not leadership, she said. That's recolonization dressed up in a red tie. That sentence alone sent chills through the room. After the exchange, media outlets scrambled to get their headlines out. Clips of Crockett's remarks began trending online. On X, formerly Twitter, her statement, "That's not how peace works," became a rallying cry, retweeted thousands of times within hours. Even major news outlets that typically lean conservative couldn't deny the force of her argument. MSNBC replayed the clip every hour, calling it one of the most powerful foreign policy rebukes of the year. The BBC aired it globally, noting how rare it was for a U.S. lawmaker to so explicitly challenge the neocolonial undertones of American foreign policy. Back in Congress, whispers of admiration followed Crockett. Staffers, both Democratic and Republican, acknowledged quietly what they couldn't say out loud: she'd stolen the room. Some GOP aides tried to recover the narrative by claiming Trump's remarks were taken out of context. But the video was unambiguous. No editing could soften what was said, or what wasn't understood. What made this moment even more significant was Crockett's unapologetic honesty. She didn't pander, didn't soften her language to make the moment palatable. In fact, she doubled down. Later that week, in an interview with NPR, she said, "I wasn't there to embarrass anyone. I was there to remind folks that if America is going to have a seat at the table on global peace, then we'd better know what that table looks like, and who built it." The reality is, the Rwanda-Congo conflict is not some vague foreign dispute. It's one of the bloodiest, most complex humanitarian crises in modern history. It's about land, power, post-colonial trauma, and the enduring impact of greed. For Trump to reduce it to a money problem wasn't just ill-informed, it was dangerous. And Crockett knew that leaving such ignorance unchallenged would be a betrayal to every person who has suffered because of Western indifference. Behind the scenes, African diplomats were stunned, not just by Trump's comments, but by Crockett's response. In private communications, several embassies praised her words as a breath of fresh air. Finally, one Rwandan delegate reportedly said, "An American politician who doesn't think we're a project to be managed." This moment has since sparked a deeper conversation within foreign policy circles. Think tanks and university forums have hosted panels titled, "What Crockett Got Right," analyzing how often American officials speak about Africa rather than with Africa. The idea that a sitting former president could be so tone-deaf on such a critical issue only intensified the urgency. Meanwhile, Trump, as expected, refused to accept defeat. On Truth Social, he lashed out, calling Crockett a failed representative and accusing her of hating American business success. But the post didn't land with its usual force. Even some of Trump's loyal base seemed confused. Comment sections were divided, not because Crockett was wrong, but because they had no idea what Trump was even talking about. One user commented, "Wait, what does Trump know about Rwanda again?" Another replied, "Maybe he should stick to golf courses." Crockett, unbothered by the backlash, continued her advocacy. She published an op-ed in Foreign Policy, laying out a real strategy for ethical engagement with African nations, centered on partnerships, not profiteering, listening, not lecturing. The op-ed went viral. It wasn't just a clapback, it was a blueprint. The long-term impact of this moment may stretch beyond politics. For years, many American citizens have been unaware or disengaged from African affairs unless they made headlines in the worst way. But now, thanks to Crockett's firm stance, there's renewed interest. High school debate teams are discussing the Congo conflict. College courses are revising syllabi to include her remarks. Even some churches and non-profits have begun organizing educational forums to better understand US-Africa relations. The bigger picture here is that Crockett's response didn't just humiliate Trump, it exposed a larger rot in how American elites approach global issues. A kind of arrogance wrapped in ignorance. A belief that every problem can be fixed with a deal or a tweet. She didn't just speak for Rwanda or the Congo. She spoke for every nation tired of being seen as someone's opportunity instead of someone's equal. It's important to note that Crockett didn't emerge from this as merely a viral clip or a trending moment. Her stock in Washington has risen sharply. Foreign policy experts now seek her input on international hearings. A rumor has even begun circulating that she may be tapped to lead a new bipartisan committee on ethical international partnerships. And why not? She's proven herself not just as a passionate voice, but as a prepared one. Ultimately, the lesson here is simple: leadership matters. Words matter. When someone with power speaks recklessly, the ripple effects can be global. But when someone like Jasmine Crockett stands up, fully informed, fully unapologetic, the ripple becomes a wave, and waves reshape the shore. We may look back on this moment years from now as a turning point, not just in Crockett's career, but in how America does diplomacy. And if there's anything more dangerous than ignorance, it's when that ignorance holds a microphone. Thankfully, on that day, someone else took the mic, and she knew exactly what to say. Thank you for watching. If you believe in real leadership, honest truth, and confronting ignorance head-on, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss another moment like this. Keep your eyes open, stay informed, and remember, peace isn't just a word, it's a responsibility.